My next guest today is Lockie Cooke. Now, Lockie is the co-founder of a company called iyarn. I've brought Lockie on today to talk about his journey designing an app and bringing it to market. The reason I've chosen to talk to Lockie is because Lockie doesn't really consider himself particularly techie, and he has been able to design and develop an app and bring it to market where it is flourishing. I spoke with Lockie earlier in the month. Here's what he had to say. Well, hi, Lockie. Welcome to Job Showcase today. It's great to have you here. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience for us, please?
G'day everyone. My name's Lockie Cooke, and I'm the co-founder of and CEO of iyarn.
Fantastic. Now, we have brought you on today to talk about your story and your experiences in the tech industry. Now, you've designed an app. Now, from our discussions, I know that you don't really consider yourself a techie. So what was your understanding of the tech world before starting iyarn? Can you talk us through that, please?
I guess my experience in the tech world was initially actually hearing about Atlassian. Two Aussie blokes came together at uni, and then they were like, "Hey, let's create this product." And hearing their story, I was like, "Wow, actually." They're really amazing people, and they're on the global stage as being one of the biggest companies in the world. And that was kind of where I realized, wow, you could be a techie kind of person. Everyone thinks this happens in America, but actually out of Australia.
Let's talk about your app. Now, you had a problem to solve. Can you talk us through what that was and what your app is trying to do?
I guess it kind of winds back a clock a bit. Like I'm sure a lot of people in this call have done a bunch of different things around the community, whether it's, being part of sporting clubs and school environments, helping young people, mentoring, being an active contributor to their community. And that's kind of my experience. And then what I saw there was like a lot of people who do awesome work in the community, whether they're mentoring, just being checking in on peers and friends. A lot of that that work that just makes this the social fabric of a community, they're not actually capturing the insights and the impact of that having on the society. And that's kind of really planted the seed is around how do we find better ways to get that data or insights, which really that helps create stronger communities. So I was really curious around that because I was working in community development space, and I was like, surely there's a better way to do this rather than like doing survey monkeys, which are really clunky and asking questions once every 6 months around how a program was. And I thought maybe imagine if we created a check-in that was less of a big survey and more just a quick 5 to 10 questions where you could do more consistently to get feedback around how programs are going. And that was really the catalyst for iyarn.
So you've got an idea and you know that there is potentially a tech solution, but you're not in the tech industry yet. So where do you start? Like, where does it start for you?
Yeah, so for me, I'm not a techie, and I'm not very even doing Excel and all that. I really did struggle in school. I was in all the support classes, going through school and all that, and never really thought, oh, being in tech space would generally be mathematicians and that go into technology. But the thing is, I was really close on the ground to the problem, and rather than saying, "Hey, I think I've got a solution for this," how do you do a non-tech and non-scalable approach to your product? So that's a way to validate it. And that's what I did. So I was actually just mentoring a few people. And rather, it was very non techie. I just collected numbers on a piece of paper. And that in itself was a really great experience for people to check in with each other. And then I kind of plotted the data together just on pen and paper. And then I realized the people I was doing this for got so much value out of this. And then I started floating the idea with more and more people. And then they said, yeah, that's a really great idea. And then that's where I realized actually, rather than me having to be pen on paper all the time, how do I empower more people to do this, but save time through making it a software app that makes it easy? And then so from the first problem was the solving a problem that people quick and easy data collection for evaluation. And then secondly, how do I make time saving through doing that from paper and pen to technology? So then I went out there and said, how do I find the technical people to help me put that together? And that was the next step, which was quite challenging. I went out there, you're blind, I don't know tech. And then so you've almost got wool gets pulled over your eyes. Someone who's maybe done a little course to say, I could be your CTO, but you actually don't know what their level of competency is. So that makes it really difficult. So I went through 2 different potential CTO co-founders of that journey, and I just realized it wasn't aligned. Fortunately, found out that early enough to realize this isn't the right path. Because they get paid in sweat equity, so that you're not paying the money, but they'll get equity for doing work, and that just wasn't the right setup. So then I was like, you know what, I need to get a visualization of what I want to do. So using Canva and the likes of Figma and all these really low cost technology products, you can actually create these things called wireframes, which are like the visualization of what you want to build. And then you get that, and then you go around and attract people who also believe in it, and then even get people to say, hey, you know what, I believe in this enough to give you money to then pay people to help build it. And that's essentially the path that I went down.
That sounds amazing, and it's such a learning curve, I can imagine. But I guess uh, if you have a strong belief in the problem that you're trying to solve, it's your product,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter how much experience you've had in the past. You're there trying to get the best fit to help you.
Exactly.
Right?
And so me and my co-founder, we really have so much conviction in what we do and passion. And I don't think we would be around as long as we have been if we didn't have a deep purpose and passion. So I shared the story around data collection and community work and development, but another side of the need for our tool is just checking on each other well-being and mental health. And the reality is, myself wasn't exposed to many mental health issues most of my journey. But then at 25, I had, and just a trigger warning. I don't want to kind of trigger anyone on the call, but I lost some people to mental health in my mid 20s, and then I realized we just got to find better ways to check in on people. And my co-founder also has his own experiences, and so we were like, we need to create a tool like this so people can check in on those people that matter most. But and so there's been a lot of adversity. There's so many challenges. I'm not saying I'm through the light, through the tunnel now. We're still in the thick of it. But I think we've got the purpose and passion behind it to be able to find the solutions to push through and just keep the dream going. And we really believe that we will get there. As we're consistent, we listen to our people who use the tool, and we'll get there. And I think you've got to have that conviction. You've got to be close to the problem enough and be passionate enough, because that'll give you the energy to find the solution to overcome the challenges you've got. And I believe that conviction and passion comes through just activity and being out there. And it's not about doing work all the time. It's even contributing to your community and figuring out what the big problem is, because then that's a subject matter expertise. You don't have to do a university degree to be a subject matter expert. That could be someone in the community, either if it's collecting rubbish, it's helping out as a volunteer at the football club. That work is what researchers would love to connect with you, with your experience. Clinicians want to hear your voice. And so being active and being aware of different problems, that's really valuable to a lot of these people who've got a lot of credentials. And then all of a sudden that will bring you on the path to kind of developing your idea. And because you've got all this experience, then you have conviction and passion, and then you'll find the solution. But it won't come if you're not actually just being busy on the ground in the community and with your ear on the ground, figuring out what the problems are.
Mentioned earlier in your journey, Lockie, that it's not all smooth sailing. So can you talk the audience through perhaps some of the challenges that you've had in developing your app along the way?
The issue, one of the big issues is just the cost of developing things in Australia is really hard. So I think 2 parts of action. If you're, looking at upskilling in a new area, I'd highly encourage you to go down a software, some sort of TAFE or bridging course and computer science pathway, because then you're building up a lot of confidence and competency in working with numbers and things like that initially, because then you could go ahead and just chip away at your product and not having to pay other people, right? Me, I was a little bit more, I was kind of almost a little bit too invested in the product, but I had a subject matter expertise and I was able to get a bit of capital. Investor came on board to help me pay for people to do it. The pro of that is that I was lucky to get money. I was very lucky. I had a clear vision on what we were trying to do, and I'd had a network of people who believed in me as being someone who can, have a vision and create something. I did run a charity for a number of years, for about 10 years. So a lot of the people who are philanthropically supporting that charity have then now supported my iyarn business. So acknowledging that. And it takes, sometimes it takes 5 to 7 years of not having a relationship with a potential investor for them to put in money. A lot of people say, oh, you just have a pitch and then they say yay or no, and you need to meet 100 people. But the reality is they need to know you as a person. Do you live with integrity? And do you really believe in what you're doing? And really, from my experience, you need to know these people for many years. It's not a invitation on LinkedIn or reaching out at a cafe event. It's a few years for them to justify investing into your business. So that's the first thing. But I think the opportunities now, the landscape of software is massively evolved in the last 5 years, in the sense of back in the day, if you didn't have the technical competency, it was a big barrier. But now with the different AI tools and no code solutions, you can get a product to market without a tech heavy product. Okay. So they call it an MVP. And there's many different products out there online that you can build your MVP product, or you can actually white label your product online. So there's a lot of big tech products that offer, if you've got a transformational learning program for getting wellness or roadside collection or whatever it is. If you've got a six-way path to living a happy life, or whatever it is, you can use platforms that will use your brand and your messaging and every fully customizable. That's just a drag and drop solution rather than you having to do the heavy lifting and build a whole software. And that is how a lot of people are really getting that first level. And then once you get to a level of sophistication and revenue, then you can look out into customizing and creating your own platform. But you don't need heaps of cash and money to do that these days. There's a lot of real low cost options to do it.
And I think that's a really smart approach as well. For those people who don't know what MVP stands for, it's minimum viable product. And so what that means is that you can build your app solution at its very basic, right?
Yep.
And it's servicing the problem that you're trying to solve. But then as you get customers, and you get feedback from those customers who will ultimately tell you, I think this could be better, or what about this? Then you can start adding to your product. That's right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're pivoting into a new space now. So we've got MVP products for clients now. And every business does this. They do a pilot or trial. This is what you need to do if you're entering into new markets. You need to offer an MVP, because you don't want to be building a full stack product, which is going to cost a lot of time and take a lot of effort and money, because you don't really know what they really experience. People will tell you what they want, but it's not until they actually experience it when they give you that honest, genuine feedback. So really encourage people to try to develop low cost solutions. It doesn't need to be, what you have now. I listened to something on social media the other day where it was like the Y Combinator, and generally most new businesses that are techie, generally their first value prop is not what the business that actually makes money. So don't get too committed to the commercial product that you think is going to work, because the chances are like 90% of the time, it's not actually that product that people actually want. So it's about just getting started, building MVP, getting feedback, and then making iterations to really meeting the client's needs.
That is excellent advice, Lockie. All right. I think you've motivated people to start thinking about great ideas. So what do you say to anyone who has that good idea and wants to start looking at a tech solution to help solve it?
My first bit of advice is, have you I had enough conversations with people who've got the problem that you're solving. Number one, you need to go out there and have those conversations. I also stress, don't go out thinking that all of a sudden this business idea or new idea is going to make you money in the first 3 to 6 months. The reality is it's really difficult. So it's a lot of stress and pressure you put on yourself if you force yourself to have to make money. So I'd really encourage people who go down this path to have a bit of work on the side, bit of cash, whether it is some sort of, for me personally, I was lucky to get into like a niece equivalent. Actually, the COVID welfare support was kind of that welfare support that I had to support me to go through this. But a lot of other people, whether you get into niece programs or if you can get a little job on the side at a cafe or fast food chain to just take a little bit of that pressure off, that's really helpful. Because otherwise it creates a little bit too much intensity in the pressure, and then the people you're chatting to could feel that and they kind of like, it's a bit too much. So I really would encourage, if it's a tech product like this, to try to do it as a bit of a side hustle, because things take a lot longer than you expect, and to put the pressure on this product, it's almost too much. So that would be the first thing. Try to maybe get a job that cover the overhead costs of, your food and all that, so then you can work on this after hours. Relying on this full time creates a lot of pressure on family and relationships and all that. But if you can do this, the after hours work, after you kind of get your basic needs met, because this concept is not going to meet your basic needs initially, but down the track, that's where you're going to get your upside if you persevere with the product.
Lockie, we're almost out of time, and I've really enjoyed chatting with you, and I really wish we could chat longer, actually. But for anyone who would like to check out your app, which is called iyarn,
Yep.
where can they go for more information?
So iyarn, iyarn.com. We've got our website. We've actually got, it's a free tool for people to use to check in on themselves, on their loved ones, their peers and all that. A lot of people actually use it who are coaches or facilitators or mentors. So it's actually free to use for anyone out there. So yeah, please reach out. Send us an email, lockie@iyarn.com.au. More than happy to chat to anyone who's having a crack. And if I can support you anyway, I'd love to be there, because I know how hard it is.
And thank you, Lockie. I know how genuine you are in that offer, because you've done the hard yards, and you know what that journey looks like. And from such a small but powerful idea has come this great service. So I thank you for being with us today. I will connect everyone to you after the show. Hopefully there's some bright ideas out there this afternoon. So thanks again.
Thank you so much. And just one last thing I can't just stress, but if you're passionate about it, write it down, connect with people and make it happen. And there's people out there, that passion comes through with your energy. You probably heard me on this call. I'm deeply passionate about this. And if you really are connected enough to the problem, that passion will come through. All right. All the best, everyone. Bye.